Hi everyone, I thought I'd shoot a little video because I need to re-dye this dashboard here, and it's got your fairly typical brown stains, and I wanted to show you them disappearing using the dye that I have mixed up for precisely this purpose. I'll be doing the whole interior of the car, but basically using exactly the same process as this one. I've already wiped down the dashboard with methylated spirits, or I think it's called denatured alcohol in America. And first things first, before I go re-dyeing this, I'm going to drill out the pop rivets and remove the VIN plate. There is nothing that stands out more if you're re-dyeing a dashboard than painting over or dyeing over the VIN plate. It looks dreadful, and I always like to drill out the pop rivets and then put them back in again, or put the plate back in again afterwards, because it really does look an awful lot better. Okay, so here I go. Just going to take out the pop rivets first. The trick with pop rivets is not to press too hard and to just let the weight of the drill do the work, and just spin it fast, taking out small amounts each time. There we go, perfect. Right, shake the pan. There we go. Right, the trick with this stuff is not to apply it like paint. It's absolutely key not to apply it like paint. If you try and put a skin on it, what you'll end up with is a very shiny, horrible surface. Best way to describe it is to apply it more like furniture polish, and go over very lightly in very thin, not even a coat, but a dusting. It dries so fast that by the time I get to the end of the dashboard, I'll pretty much be able to come back to the start again. I won't be able to cover that brown stain in one go. There we go. Looking at it against the light, it kind of sparkles a bit. Kind of like, a bit like snow, a bit like Christmas glitter, but again. And I'll go over it again. The brown stain is already almost completely invisible. It looks a little patchy as it's going off, but or can look a bit patchy, but that will actually sort itself out as it dries. So don't be tempted as you're going over it to see the patchy bits and think, oh, I need to make that smooth, because all you'll end up doing is going over it and creating a skin, which is what you don't want to do. Let that patchiness disappear on its own. And see, I've got quite a wet patch there. Doing a good job of disappearing that almost. Okay, one more coat I think and then we'll be done. I'm going to make this one a fairly heavy one. Yeah, looking against the light really tells you how you're laying it down. But that's true of any paint really. There we go. I will call that a day. Okay, I'm just gonna, it's not quite dry yet, but it's still easily dry enough for me to pop the VIN plate back on. Now the VIN plate actually goes on the opposite way to where you might think. So if you weren't paying attention when you took it off, note that it goes on effectively upside down so that it can be read through the windscreen. if anyone's not familiar with this particular flavour of tool, it's rather clever, because you can use it as a familiar, the way that you're familiar with, but you can also, if you've got access problems, you can swivel it around to whichever angle you need to be able to get into things. I find it incredibly useful. There we go. Okay, here we are. Here's the results up close. You can see where the brown stain isn't. And we have a almost as good as new dashboard. And this is my personal opinion, but by taking out the VIN plate and then re-riveting it in place, to anybody looking at it, it won't occur to them that this was ever re-dyed because of seeing the VIN plate out and shiny rivets on it. It's a hard thing to explain, but nothing winds me up more than seeing an engine that's been painted over, including all the bolts. So whenever I paint an engine, I always make sure to replace all the bolts afterwards, so you don't then think it's been painted. It just looks like a really beautifully clean engine, and it's the same with this, with the dashboard here. You don't think it's been re-dyed, it just looks in really good condition. So anyway, enough pontificating. Hopefully you appreciate the finish that can be achieved with a simple can of spray dye.